Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can use this super simple expense tracker to track your expenses. This is a beginner-friendly tracker, so perfect for anyone who is looking to just get started with tracking and get a better understanding of your finances. I will be walking you through how you can customize this, and by the end of the tutorial, you'll have your tracker all set up and you'll know exactly how to use it every single day. This exact tracker that I'll be showing will be linked down below. So if you're interested in purchasing, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, first things first, we are going to be working in Google Sheets. So if you don't have an account, it is free to sign up and you can go ahead and make an account if you don't have one already. So right here, I have a copy of my expense tracker. This is the exact tracker that you'd get if you bought mine off of Etsy. There's an instructions tab right here, and this just has a step-by-step explanation of some of the items that we'll be going over in this video. We also have an example expense tracker, so some different items already filled out to get you an understanding of what it looks like. And then we have our blank expense tracker. I'm actually going to make a copy of this blank one. So we're just going to duplicate it and we're going to rename it. I'm going to call it my November expense tracker because we are in the month of November. And there you have it. Now you can make copies for every month if you'd like to. Let's go over the main sections of this expense tracker. Here we have the month, which is automatically calculated. You don't need to worry about updating that. It just calculates it based off the current month. We also have our summary. We have our category summaries, our spending overview, which will populate a graph and some really nice visuals later on once we actually add things. And here we have our expense tracker. So this is our summary section, and here we have our spending limit, which is going to be the only cell that we're editing in this section. So we are going to start off with setting it at $1,000. If you don't know exactly what you want to be setting your spending limit to, that's okay. Don't stress too much about it. If this is your first time tracking, just set it to your best estimate. And as you track, you'll soon get a better idea of what your typical spending looks like and can set a more accurate spending limit later on. The next three rows, you're actually not going to change. These are all automatically calculated based on what you enter for your expenses down below, which we'll get to later. So we have total spent, which is the total amount of money you spent for the entire month, the number of purchases, so the number of expenses or items you've purchased, and the remaining amount, which is just your spending limit minus the total spent. This is a great and nice overview for each month that you can use to compare later months and get an idea of how much total money you've spent. Now I want to talk to you about this category summary section. Here in my spreadsheet tracker, I have several different categories, and we also have the total, which obviously right now is 0 because we haven't added anything to our tracker, and then also the percent, which is the percentage of every category over the total amount of money you spent. So for example, if this read 50%, that meant you spent 50% of your total spending in the gas and transportation category. Right now we have this error, and that's just because we don't have anything added. So later on, you'll see how this percentage changes. So you can keep these categories if you want, or you can change it to fit your personal financial spending. So for example, in this first category, let's say you don't have a car, so you won't need to spend money on gas. But let's say you do take the bus or Uber or train pretty frequently. So let's just change this to transportation. Another example is, let's say you wanted to add a groceries tab. Let's say you live on your own and you don't need this, let's say, travel option. So let's change this to groceries. And let's go ahead and track one more. So let's say you're a big coffee lover. Let's change this gift categories to coffee. Okay, great. So we set our different categories. And so let's go down now to expenses. So I'm going to delete that so we have a clean slate. Let's say on today's date, let's say today is the 1st of November, I bought coffee. So I'm going to add coffee. Let's say I spent $6 and we're going to put it as coffee. Remember, we just added that category, how I paid. Let's say you used cash. And there's also a note section if you wanted to add notes for yourself just later on. Here we had a drop down of all the different options, and these are automatically calculated based on your category. So even if you change some of these items, these will automatically update. So remember, we changed out gas transportation for gas, we also added groceries, and we added coffee. So this is great because it just does this all automatically. So if we go up here to our category summary, we can see that coffee is automatically updated. We have $6 here and 100% because the only thing we have tracked for this month is coffee. If we go over to our summer, we can also see our total spent, which is $6. Number of purchases is one, and remaining is $994 because 1,000, which is what we set as our spending limit, minus what we spent so far, which is $6 on coffee, we have $994. Well, perfect. That's it. You literally just took 10 seconds to log your first expense. And over here, we have our spending overview, which, as you can see, doesn't give us much information just because we literally only have one item. Let's go ahead and add some more items. That way we can get a better idea. Let's say on the 3rd of November, you went to, let's say, Trader Joe's and you spent $35, and we're going to categorize this as groceries. And let's say you paid it with credit cards. Let's say on the 5th, you went out to eat. So you went to Chipotle, and let's say you spent $15, and we can add that to our food eating out. And let's say you you just paid it with Venmo. So here we have our 3 items total. And as you can see, we have our food and eating out added, our groceries, and our coffee. You can also see the number of purchases was updated. We have 3 now. Total spent is $56, and our remaining amount is $944. Go ahead and enter a few more expenses, and this way we can see kind of how the rest of our budget might look like. So I added a few more categories, and let me go over here and I'll zoom out just a bit so you can see this a little bit better. Here we have our spending overview. So this is a nice quick visual to just get an idea of how your spending looks. So we can see we have our different categories right here on the bottom, as well as our different categories here. So you can see how out of our total spending, so far we have $210 tracked. We spent about 35% on clothing and shopping, 21% on food and eating out, groceries was 16%. So this is a really powerful part of the expense tracker. And I think one of the most important parts I want to focus on is this is where the awareness comes in. Most people have no idea that they're spending $200 a month on food delivery, for example, or $100 on random Amazon purchases. But when you track it like this, you see it clear as day and you can see how it really starts to add up. And then you can make better decisions like, okay, maybe I should cook more at home, for example, or maybe I don't need another subscription service. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about my top tips for actually sticking with this. First, and this is the most important one, I'd recommend dedicating one day a week to tracking your expenses. Some people like to track the day they spend or once a month. I think tracking every day can be a little bit tiresome, and once a month can be really hard and overwhelming to look back on all that you're spending. I'd say once a week is a really good medium. So just pull out your phone or whatever you use to open your credit cards or bank accounts and add your expenses to the sheet. It literally takes 10 seconds, like we just saw for each item. Secondly, I would say be consistent. So even the small stuff, that $2 snack, $5 parking fee, track it all. Those purchases really add up quick. And third, I'd say review this once a month. You saw how we were able to add November really easily. You can easily add this for every single month of the year. Just duplicate like we did it below. So that's all there is to it. Expense tracking does not have to be super complicated. You just literally write down what you spend and let the sheet do the rest. If you want this exact tracker, the link is right below in the description. It's super affordable and you get it forever. So no monthly subscriptions or anything. It's yours. You can customize the colors and the categories to make it your own like we just saw. So if this helped you, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more money saving tips and simple trackers. Be sure to check out all my different products linked below and definitely leave a comment. What's the category you spend the most on? I'm curious. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video.